them is like we have seen one RNN. So where you have a RNN, it can be LSTM as well. Okay, so we are just like simply saying it as RNN, but it can be a GRU or LSTM as well. So where what we have done is you can have multiple inputs here, right? So as we told, the input size need not be fixed. So number of timestamp need not be fixed here. You can give multiple just in case like this. So you can have so many timestamps or a little timestamp. Like the input is varying, right? So mostly you can have input variable input, variable input, and fixed output. It can be there. Okay, so what a kind of examples, like let's say like types of RNN models, okay, or architectures. So something can be in case of a fixed input and fixed output, that is very easy. Like we don't have to, we have seen like so many models such way. So, and there can be a variable input and fixed output as well, and variable input, variable output as well. So what does it mean is like actually, so let's take an example of a machine translation. So where you translate from one language to another language. Okay. So like language like means like, let's say this is a book, is one let's say is a input to your model. So for which you'll be passing this one time, this one time, this one time, this one time. Okay, and your output can be like in a, let's say from English you're translating to some other language. Okay, so maybe Telugu, there can be German, there can be anything. Okay, Hindi as well. Okay, so the wording can be like, not like here we have four, right? Four timestamps. So here it need not be four, it can be five or maybe two. Okay, like in Telugu, maybe you'll be getting only two words, like idi pustakam, right? So just two words you'll be getting it. And maybe in some other language you'll have like so many five words. So your output can also be varied. In case of a machine translation, you have a variable input and variable output. Okay, so just to picturize that, okay, in case, let's first see about a variable input and fixed output. So what you have is, in case of a recurrent, like it's a, you have something like t minus 1, you have a of t and x of t, right? And you have, this is y of t. So what you have is recurrent, right? So you start giving like how many inputs you have, like one after the other, and depending on that as a sequence, and then it will give a final output. Okay, something like here it can be a video. Okay, so it can be anything. Okay, so you give few frames and detect like what is he doing, like what kind of action is that person doing inside. So something like that, is he jumping, is he laughing, something like that. So that can be done. So in that, output is just fixed, right? So is it like a kind of a classification. So where is it laughing, jumping, we can keep one each of them as a class and we can give it. So that is one output. So maybe instead of that, like if you can expand this. Okay, so in the timestamp, if you want to expand it, so a of 0, so you have input at various levels, like x of 0, 1, 2, so on, right? So like this, so many. So but output can be a single value, because maybe at the end you'll be getting output. So this is a kind of a classification. Okay, so this we can have it where it is variable input but fixed output. It can be one output or two outputs. It can be something like that. So this is about variable input, fixed output. Similarly, in case of a translation like this, right? So there can be variable input, variable output as well. So where x of 0, x of 1. Similarly, let's take the same. So maybe you can have multiple multiple outputs, y of t y of t minus 1, like this. Okay, so you can have each way like out and output, or maybe add like few more and then get one more output. Here you don't have input as well. Okay, so it can be something like this. So it need not be here in case your where input variables are, maybe you can have it fixed, or maybe even this is variable and here your output is also variable. Okay, so this is variable input, variable output. Okay, so this can also be there. So one best example is like machine translation. One more example can be something like, make it more complicated. You give input as video length can need not be fixed, and you pass it and get not just output as a kind of a classification that person is running this one, a kind of a description, kind of captioning to your like video, means like now he has opened a door, something like sentence, he has opened door, something like that, a kind of a text if it is coming. So then that model, it's like variable input and variable output. So and there can be something like when you speak, right? So from audio, like now we have this automatic subtitle generation, right? That caption generation, the same thing we can use it here, right? So where you speak something and that speech get converted in, speech can be a kind of input to your model, and your output can be translate the text like which is translated from it. Okay, so not translated, it's like from audio, like the same speech to text, converted text, like what you get, like that can be your output. So something like that, where you don't have like space, like fixed number of input and fixed number of output. So that case is like variable input and variable output.